wording matters. This is going to be maybe a little bit longer of a video, so just stick with me here. Wording matters. Take a look at a company like Volkswagen, right? What do you know Volkswagen for? You know Volkswagen for being the vehicle of the hippies, right? The Volkswagen bus, the Beetle, and then obviously becoming this major automotive powerhouse with a whole line of different vehicles, many of which people love today. But you don't know Volkswagen for being evil, right? You don't know Volkswagen for being part of some of the worst parts in human history. But they were. Volkswagen was created by Adolf. Volkswagen is German for the Volkswagen. It was created by the Nazi Party. That's how Volkswagen began. Do you look at Volkswagen now through that lens? No, you don't. Do you know why? They changed, right? They started out that way, but then they changed. Adidas, I believe, is also something that was associated with that very same political movement, was born out of that. The Doberman Pinscher, the German Shepherd. I think these are all things that were products of that political ruling class at that time. Anyway, you see these things like Volkswagen, and you see that they're not what they once were. And so you don't talk about Volkswagen as being a Nazi creation. You talk about Volkswagen as being a major leader in the automotive industry, right? So now I'm going to play you a video by a gentleman we all know, the Older Millennial, talking about how the Democratic Party is the party of violence. Let's watch this video and come back and talk about it.
Oh, this is not going to go the way you thought it would. Because I most certainly do not have to go 54 or 41 years in the past to point out that the Democrats are the party of violence. I mean, shooting at the congressional baseball game, trying to assassinate a Supreme Court justice, the BLM riots, the Summer of Love, the Chaz Autonomous Zone, the storming of a state capitol, trying to assassinate a president twice. Like, you do understand, I could just keep going. I could name shit forever about the violence the Democrats have perpetrated against our government. Because the Democrats have always been the party of violence. The Democrats have always been the party of hatred. The Democrats have always been the party of revolting against the government and trying to destroy it. Like, all you have is January 6th. And you guys are laying it on so thick because one thing that all liberals do is ignore history. They ignore that throughout the entire history of the United States of America, all of the destructive and hateful and racist shit that has ever been perpetrated in this nation has been done by Democrats.
Wow. Okay, so you said that among some of your examples are true examples of left-wing violence, and then you said things like trying to assassinate President Trump twice. Both of those people were Trump supporters. That wasn't done by people on our side of the political aisle. The BLM riots. I can show you article after article after article and police report after police report after police report showing you how many of those riots in the summer of 2020 were started by right-wing people. Umbrella Man, things of that nature. Of course, you've seen those. You know those. But that doesn't feed into the narrative that you need to feed to the idiots that follow you. You talk about storming a state capitol. You're talking about when they protested a state capitol and held a sit-in? Storming a state capitol is what right-wingers did with their AR-15s during the Liberate movement of 2020, when Donald Trump was tweeting at his minions to liberate their state capitals, and they armed up and went to their state capitals, most noticeably in Michigan, and took over those capitol buildings in an armed show of force. You say that it's everything that's ever been done in this country has been done. All the violence has been done on the part of the left. That's interesting, and that we revolt against government, and that the only thing we have is January 6th. First things first, January 6th is a pretty big one, don't you think? I mean, it's the only time in American history in which a sitting U.S. president sent an armed mob to overthrow his own government. In my opinion, January 6th ranks right up there with 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. But let me ask you a question. Oklahoma City, was that done by a leftist? No, it wasn't. Ruby Ridge, Were they Democratic liberals? And see, he keeps saying Democrats rather than conservatives, right? He said everything that's ever been perpetrated was done by Democrats, trying to go back to the days of like slavery when the conservative Democrats did horrific things. But that's why words matter here. Ruby Ridge, was that leftists? Or do you think those were more right-wing people? How about everybody that's ever walked into an abortion clinic and assassinated a doctor? Were those all left-wing people? Or you think they might have been conservative Republicans? Let's see if we can give you some more examples here. 2022, Maryville, Tennessee, December 16th. Edward Kelly of Maryville, Tennessee, and Austin Carter of Knoxville, Tennessee, were arrested in mid-December of 2022 by FBI agents on conspiracy charges for an alleged plot to kill 37 law enforcement officers, including FBI agents who were investigating Kelly for his role in the January 6, 2021 Capitol storming in Washington, D.C. Colorado Springs, November 19th, 2022. Anderson Lee Aldrich was charged with 317 crimes, including 5 counts of first-degree murder, for a November 19, 2022 shooting spree against an LGBTQ plus nightclub. Right-wing. New York, November 9th, 2022. A grand jury in New York indicted Matthew Maher and Christopher Brown on conspiracy, threat, and weapons charges following an arrest on November 19th as they tried to enter Penn Station with firearms, bulletproof vests, and masks. Police suspect the pair was plotting to conduct a shooting at a synagogue. Right-wingers, once again. San Francisco, California, October 28, 2022. David DePape invaded the home of the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, in a self-described suicide mission to kidnap her and break her kneecaps to serve as an object lesson for other Democrats. Right-winger. Warsaw, Missouri, October 7th. Brian C. Perry of Tennessee and Jonathan S. Odell of Missouri allegedly plot to travel to Texas to shoot migrants coming across the U.S. border. Of course, you also have the Walmart El Paso shooting, where a conservative person walked into a Walmart in Texas and started shooting brown people. Kalamazoo, Michigan, July 31st, 2022. Struthers, Ohio, June 17th. That's just in 2022. Then you go into 2021, several instances here. Quite a few instances here. 2020, Springfield, Massachusetts. Federal prosecutors indicted Dushko Volchev of Holton, Maine on federal hate crime charges for 2020 arson that destroyed a predominantly black church. Right-winger again. Bad Axe, Michigan, October 30th, 2020. It goes on and on and on and on and on. No, we don't just have Caesar Sayoc, the guy from Florida that mailed pipe bombs to several Democratic people and left-leaning people in the news. We don't just have January 6th. January 6th is just the crown jewel of the violent bullshit your side has commenced in this country. Conservatives, on top of everything else, were the ones that broke away from this country and started a civil war with us. Were they Democrats? Yes, they were conservative Democrats who later became modern-day Republicans, the same assholes you vote for. Nice try, and I understand that your idiot followers are going to get it, and you are hitting on all cylinders recently.